You know about those things again for tuning into yet another video. Infamous coming at you live from the West Coast yet again, San Jose, California. So today we're going to be looking at some tools that I am almost certain that you do not have in your tool chest, that you don't have. Right? Most of these tools are basically specialty tools for this specific job, for the stage 2 install. So you guys can see I have a whole playlist on the YouTube channel. You guys can check it out. We have all the videos for everything that you might be wondering about or you have a question. We have the full install if you guys want to take a look at that. I have the installs on the push rod covers. You know, this is interchangeable for anything. You can use these videos for your Flo-Moto parts. You can use them for your S&S. You can use them for your fueling, you know, or your Screaming Eagle if those are the parts you're going with. Whatever cam you want to use, whatever, you know, redshift, fueling, S&S, woods, whatever cam you want to use, whatever pump you want to use, all of that is still, you can still use these videos for that. Even though these are S&S, you can use these videos for those parts. So anyways, getting on to the topic of the video, the tuner from Flo-Moto. Like I said, you know, $400. That's huge considering the to get it dyno tuned, you're looking at $600 plus the tuner. Like I said, if you're going with the PV2, you're already looking at $700 for that plus the tuner. You know, to get the bike tuned, because it doesn't, you know, that if you buy the tuner outside or from somebody else, from a different manufacturer, a different retail supplier, a different retail store, they will not provide you with a tune. You would have to be, like I said, you would have to get it from Flo-Moto. That's a huge benefit. You know, they also offer you know, maps as well. They also offer services, but those are $100. Those are separate. You still have to buy the tuner, and you still have to buy the license. If you're buying a used tuner, you'll still have to get the license key from DynoJet, and then of course that's going to add to your cost. So overall, the best way to get this installed and save yourself some money if you're outside of California is to go with Flo-Moto. You know, just mainly for the map and the tuner at the same time. So $400, enough rambling. You know, just overall good deal. They have some really good support. And they're really responsive when you're emailing them, contacting them, stuff like that. And like I said, the map from them is pretty spot on. Now, of course, getting it professionally dyno tuned, you know, for the $600, you could gain somewhere around 10 to 15 horsepower or 10 to 15 foot-pounds of torque. Like I said, you know, I'm just saying, I'm just throwing out numbers. You know, it could be less than that, it could be more than that, because of course, a lot of the stuff depends on where you live. I'm not sure if they'll ask where you're located, because of course, you know, the temperature is going to be different in different parts of the country. You know, the United States is huge. There's just a lot of factors, all right, when it comes down to your temperature, the weather conditions. I think I guess just the moisture in the air in your area, that could, yeah, you know, just stuff like that. Maybe you're in a high altitude area. You guys get the point. You know, all of these numbers will vary the overall performance on the engine, and you could potentially gain, of course, you know, 10 horsepower or 15 horsepower, or, you know, so on, 10%, 8% of performance by getting it dyno tuned to your specific conditions in your specific city, state, town, or whatever. Anyways, moving on to the next thing that you're going to have to get is a motorcycle stand. All right, you got to lift that rear wheel up. All right, so you know, it's $71 on sale right now. Pretty good deal. The one I got was $80. It's the gray one. I've already had an unboxing. This is the OMT motorcycle lift. Like I said, you're not lifting the bike completely up. You just got to lift that rear end just enough for you to spin that rear wheel to check, of course, your crank run out, to cut your push rods, and to of course check to see if there's any binding or anything like that when you're installing the cam. So this is a very good tool to have, not only for the install, but overall just maintenance on your bike. You're going to need, you know, if you have a chain on your bike, you're going to have to clean your chain if you already made that, if you already did that mod. If you have to adjust your rear belt tension, you need this. If you have to swap out your rear tire, another benefit, you're going to need this stand for something. You know, it's good to have, and it's low profile. It's only, you know, when you collapse it and you store it away, it's really low footprint as far as, you know, your storage and keeping it stored or anything like that. It's not going to take a lot of space in your garage. On to the next tool. You'll need, of course, bolt cutters to cut your push rods. Now you have different sizes here. You have a 30-inch, 24-inch, and an 18-inch. You know, as far as the 24 and the 30-inch, you might be able to get away with a 24-inch bolt cutter. It's only because, of course, the size of, you know, the head right here of the bolt cutters. I think 18-inch is a good safe bet that it's gonna fit, because you have the cooling fins. You don't want to crack or chip into that when you're cutting your push rod. So you have to, of course, you know, make sure you're not cutting into that. You also have to, you know, just look out for your O2, not the OT. You have to look out for the throttle positioning sensor as well. If you're not removing your throttle body or anything like that, you have to look out for that, because all of this is really tight, and having a super large 30-inch bolt cutter, it's really tough to kind of squeeze in there and avoid scratching or chipping away at your cuffs or at the, like I said, the cooling fins. So bolt cutters, 100%. This is what you're going to need to get rid of the push rods. Get that out of the way. So moving on to the next, we have the cam bearing tool. Like I said, these are musts. You really have to have these tools. So this is one of the specialty tool that you will need for your cam install. And it doesn't matter, you know, if you're reusing your pump, your old pump. If you have a 2020 and up, you can reuse your old pump or anything like that. You have to get the cam bearing out of your cam chest. You have to get it out. That cam chest, the cam bearing in your M8 is absolutely garbage. And this is the same one I have. So you'll have to, of course, like I said, you should get the tool. $64, guys. It's not, you know, it's not that bad. It's a lot cheaper than the gyms. I believe that one's like $300+ you could probably buy it used, but these guys, they manufacture these. They're located, I believe, in Ohio. Woya Products. They also sell the crank Runout, and that's also another product that I bought from them. Super fast shipping. They use priority shipping, and they get it out to you super fast, and they're located in Ohio. So good deal. $64, you can't beat that, and it's made in the States. So you'll need the cam bearing tool 100%. You know, even if like I said, even if you keep your stock oil pump, you're gonna have to, you know, get this. So moving on to the next tool you'll need, that I'm pretty sure you probably don't have, you'll need a torque wrench, 100%. So you have to, of course, set these bolts to spec. We are talking about delicate, you know, parts, tight tolerances. They have to be exactly within the specs, because you know, you can't over tighten these parts. These parts are meant to be moving. They're meant to be free. They can't be binding or anything like that. And you know, you should really have the torque wrench, not only for, like I said, the cam stuff, but this will help you out in every part of the bike. Every little bolt nut that's on your bike has a specific torque wrench from the manufacturer. And I think this one, you know, for the price is pretty good. Like I said, you could also buy these at Harbor Freight. You don't have to buy them off of Amazon. So moving on to the next one, you have a inch torque wrench. So this is another one. You have a few different options right here, 25 to 250. You know, that's a 1/2 inch drive, but for the most part, as far as the cam chest, the plate, the pump, the cuffs, all of that stuff, you'll have to, of course, use this inch torque wrench, inch pounds. Of course, you'll have to get this 100%. So moving on to the next tool. This is the cam locking tool, cam sprocket locking tool for the M8. This one, it'll make the job easier. You don't really need this, absolutely, because you could always lower your rear tire down, and then of course, you know, set your torque. You know, when you're torquing down the sprocket on the cam, you could, like I said, you could set down the rear tire. That locks up the crank, and then you could, you know, go about setting your specs or your torque specs. But this just makes it easy. You don't have to lower that rear wheel for anything, and then of course it's only 15 bucks. So this is also another neat little tool that will help you with that. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. These are tools that will make the install a little bit easier. Like I said, these next few tools are just to kind of help you, you know, just to make it a little bit faster, and overall, you know, just so it's not so much of a headache. So you have the cam. You guys have to look at the ball ends on these Allen sockets. You guys can see. So this is specific. So this is ball end hex big socket set. So this is just to kind of get in there in those tight spaces when it comes to the cuffs, the push rod covers, stuff like that. That area, you're gonna be very, very happy that you have this available to you, so you could actually angle the ratchet and stuff like that. So I would suggest buying both the metric and the SAE, just so you could, you know, get into those tight spaces when it comes to torquing those bolts to spec, of course, just to make it a little bit easier. Move it on to, of course, some little things. These stuff you might have already, but blue Loctite for, of course, the bolts, the cam, the plate, the pump, a lot of the, you know, little stuff like that. You'll use the blue one. When it comes to the red one, which is over here, you're gonna need the red one for the crank. The crank bolt that locks into your cam chain for the sprocket. So you'll need that. So moving on to the next one. This one, the adjustable wrench, you'll need it for the cam bearing tool. So this one right here, this bolt, which one is it? I think it's this one. This is a huge nut on this. I have a wrench set, but none of that is this proper size. I'm not sure what size this is, but you'll need a huge wrench. So that's why we have that. I mean, you have both of them. You have the smaller one that holds the bolt in place, and then you have the larger one, the wrench that you could actually twist and turn and start backing out that cam bearing. So you'll just need you know, a bigger opening for that. So this is an inch 5/16. That's pretty big. I believe that's enough to open up to pull out that cam bearing with the cam bearing tool, you know, on this. So let's move on to the next one. This one you don't really need. You could reuse whatever you have. If you have a pickle jar, or you bought something, or you have a peanut butter jar, or whatever you have, maybe it's a mayo jar, whatever you have, before you throw it away, clean it out, rinse it out, put your lifters in there. That's what I ended up using. I have a Smucker's jelly, or what is it, strawberry jelly or spread or something like that. Pulled it out of the fridge. It was almost empty. Dumped it out, rinsed it out, and then I threw my my lifters in there, and I let them sit. I mean, I let mine sit for like 2 weeks because I was waiting on parts, but you don't have to wait 2 weeks. I believe overnight 2 days is just good enough. So whatever you have, if you have something available as far as a jar or whatever, just throw your lifters in there, let them sit for a few days before you start with the install. Moving on to the next one, of course, and here's the same manufacturer with these specific tools. If you're doing a oil pump install, if you're doing a cam and oil pump with plate kit, you have to check your run out. All right, I've seen bikes 2022 Lowrider S with 9,000 run out. If you're not checking your crank run out and you're doing the oil pump and plate, you are risking it. You are risking a higher repair bill. These runouts on these cranks, they're not what they used to be before 2009. There's a reason why they no longer have that brass fitting or that brass ring on the plates. The reason being is they're using a softer aluminum for those plates because of just the run out on these, and Harley knows it. Harley has increased their crank run out, I believe, to 10,000s or 12,000s. If your crank run out is over 13,000s, they will replace, if you're within, of course, your factory warranty. But if your M8, even with 800 miles, because that's the one I saw, if your M8 has 800 miles and your crank run out is 10,000s, they will not replace your crank under warranty. They won't do it, which absolutely sucks, because even at 6,000s, 6,000, 7,000s, you're not supposed to use the aftermarket, the Fueling, the Screaming Eagle, or the S&S plate kit, oil and plate kit. You're not supposed to use it because, like I said, they're better pieces. They're billet. They're not, they don't have a soft alloy. They're just not designed to take all that run out. So you have to check it. The reason why I see videos where people have mentioned the S&S and the Fuelings, they've found broken pumps and plates, is because people don't check the run out. They don't. They think it's a brand new bike. It's low miles. The crank, I like I said, some of them, if you're lucky, you'll have 3,000s. Mine has 4,000s. It's just, like I said, it really depends on Harleys. Like I mentioned, I've seen some of them with 10,000s, 9,000s run out, and those aren't covered under warranty. So check your run out before you swap out your plate and your oil pump. So if you have a 2020 and newer model, you don't have to worry about the oil pump. You can use it. You'll get benefits from the improved oil flow, stuff like that, cooling, better lubrication, stuff like that, but you don't absolutely need it. So it's only $54. It's a cool little tool to have. Let's go ahead and move on to, of course, the O-ring, or the oil pump cushion. They call it a cushion at the dealership, the oil pump M8 cushion. So this is, of course, a part that you don't really have to get. All right, this is if you want an absolutely brand new O-ring, you could get it. They have it here for $12. You can buy this at the dealership for $6. You could get it at the dealer. I would say just go to your dealer, get this if you really want to swap it out. If you have a 2017 to 2019 M8 and you're doing the oil pump, you'll have to get this. All right, so go back. Go to your dealership. You can pick this up for $6. $6. It's nothing. Just get it at the dealership. $6. The only reason why S&S, Fueling, those guys, they don't offer this O-rings because this has a patent. So only Harley-Davidson can sell it, which is stupid, I know, but $5 is $5, I guess. All right, and on to the last one here. You'll need a filler gauge for this install. You'll have to make sure the spacing, the gap, the spacers, everything. You'll have to make sure it's within spec. As far as your cam sprocket, just making sure they're aligned, they're not off alignment. There's no additional wear and tear on some of the parts. So a filler gauge, just to check the spacing behind the bolts, the nuts that of course bolt onto your cam and onto your crank. You also use the filler gauge on your push rods, on your cuffs, on the lifters, making sure they don't bind up. If you guys saw the Pro Monkey install, he didn't use a filler gauge on one of his lifts, and when he went to, of course, check to see if there's any binding or anything like that, one of the lifters, it was stuck because the cuff and the lifters, they were touching each other. So you're supposed to use, of course, the filler gauge. You can use the 2000s when it comes to that, and then of course, like I said, you'll have to check the spacing between the cam sprocket and the crank bolt, stuff like that. So it's just a little good tool to have, just to make sure your cam, your lifters, your cam, and your pump, they do not bind up at all. So just to be on the safe side, $6.99, not bad. So when you're buying the cam or whatever tool you'll get, you'll also need a assembly lube, stuff like that. Assembly lube is good. I bought my kit from S&S and they provided me with everything. I had the cam cover gasket. I had all the O-rings for the cam oil pump, except for, of course, that one that I mentioned, that one specific one that you have to get from the dealership. But I got the oil passages ones from S&S. Most of the stuff that I got, all the little stuff like that. So that's all provided in the kit if you're buying it from S&S. They'll give you those O-rings for your push rods, of course, your push rod covers, stuff like that. So anyways, there's a lot of tools here, obviously, you guys can see. And the good thing about these is they're not just specifically for the cam. You can use these throughout the life of ownership, and of course you could use them just on other people's bikes or for your vehicles. You can use the torque wrench, a lot of stuff like that. I mean, you can use all this stuff, and once you consider what the dealership's going to charge you, or what the mechanic's going to charge you, I think they almost even out in the long run. So it's just, like I said, it's a good tool set, good just overall to expand your toolbox. It's pretty good to have. And on top of that, you're getting familiar with your bike, you're getting comfortable with your bike, wrenching on it. Once you start to do these type of jobs, all the other stuff, it's not too scary when it comes to wrenching and maintaining other parts, other components on your bike. So like I said, the install, where you're looking at, like I said, $800 to $1,200. These tools right here that you see, that's nowhere near the $800 to $1,200. The only reason why I mentioned having the professional install it, I would say it's mainly for the tune or the tuner. So I mean, like I said, some of these guys will give you a discount if you combine the install and the tune. You can save yourself a little bit of money. But overall, all of these tools that I featured just right now, they're nowhere near probably $200. So you can do it yourself, or you can pay somebody else to do it. In the long run, your bike's gonna sound meaner, it's gonna sound louder, and it's gonna perform a whole lot better. So thanks for tuning in. Life's for us. Get out there and ride. Later.